From a custom swing to realistic food, here are the greatest Minecraft build hacks. Although the mace is an amazing weapon, the 2D texture isn't the greatest. To make our own hammer, place an armor stand into the ground, push a stone block into it, and then add an end rod for the handle. Finally, we can just add a few decoration blocks around it, and we'll have a hammer sitting on a rock. Birch planks make a pretty good looking floor, but if you're trying to go for an old worn down look, try mixing in some stripped bamboo logs to look like the floor is fading out. You can make a parrot house with a few trapdoors and a slab. On the inside, set down a turtle egg in an item frame and place a coral on top. Your parrot would love this house. This is a tiny well. Place down a few stairs and waterlog them. For the roofing, add some diagonal slabs like so and top it off with some signs. What's great about this well is that it actually functions as an infinite water source even though it's so small. If you have a pirate ship but it's feeling a little empty, you need this. Blacksmith villagers actually wear an eye patch, so they're the perfect crew to have aboard. It's possible to place a carpet on a decorated pot, so by building it into your floor, it'll sort of look like a food bowl for your dog. Blocks normally have to be placed on Minecraft's grid system, but by connecting stairs like so, it'll look like a full block is off the grid. Instead of just using redstone lamps for headlights, place a button and then a glowing item frame behind it to level up your cars. How does this room have light? There isn't a single visible light source because it's all hidden in the ceiling. Simply place some glowstone blocks and cover them up with carpets on top of string. This way you'll have a clean ceiling without yellow glowstone sticking out. With a lectern facing the wall and a few leaves on top, you can create a houseplant. In 1.15, there was a small gap when you place walls on top of each other, but in the next update, they were changed, so the walls are much smoother. They look much better now. Farms can look pretty ugly if they're just in the middle of your world. To blend them in, place down some pods all around the farm. If you're scared of the dark, you can put concrete blocks into invisible glowing item frames to give some extra light at night. Or you can also create a pair of spooky eyes with them. Ah! You may know you can type special characters into signs, but a cool trick you can do with this is place a square symbol at the edges of the sign. It'll look like the sign is nailed down and make a door seem barricaded. Minecraft doesn't have many placeable foods, so let's make our own. Just place red coral into an item frame and yellow coral on top to get spaghetti. We can also use armor stands and block displays to create a turkey. This looks so pretty. If you add candles near TNT, it'll look like sticks of dynamite. Make sure you don't accidentally light the TNT though. Ever wanted to place down a book? Well, a pretty convincing way to do this is by dyeing a leather helmet green and then applying the coast armor trim with quartz. Then you can put it on an armor stand and drop it onto 3 layers of snow. Once you push a block into the armor stand, you'll get what looks like a realistic book. Instead of using stairs for your roof, try using walls. They'll give your house a more unique look and don't look half bad. If you place the walls in the side of your builds like this, you can make it look like the build was damaged or is under construction. If you use a dinnerbone name tag on a mob, it'll flip over. So we can attach it to a fence high up and it'll look like the mob is walking upside down. Want a suit and tie? Just combine a netherite chest plate with a quartz Vex armor trim. You can even invert it with an iron chest plate and netherite trim to get a white suit and black tie. Nether forests are full of life, but you can build a dead tree. It works by using muddy mangrove roots for the stem and dead coral blocks for the leaves. What's better is that you can add some hanging dead corals on the leaves, which will look like dried up vines. It blends in surprisingly well with the surrounding environment. To create a thinner tree, try exchanging out with the logs with 4 walls. For birch, we can use diorite walls, and for acacia, we can use andesite walls. Different trunk sizes will add much needed variation to our forest. By placing vines on top of redstone ore, we'll get some awesome berry vines. And if we want even more types of berries, try placing the vines on different ores like lapis ore to get blueberries or gold ore to get gooseberries. While signs are normally used for writing, they can also add texture to a lot of your builds. They can transform simple looking columns to elegant pillars. By combining lanterns and slabs, you can create pretty unique handrails for your stairways. Tires in real life will leave behind some tracks, so for some added realism, try using stairs to create some vehicle treads. Sea pickles can be placed on top of pumpkins and melons to look like a stem on top. Check out this tiny aquarium. The fish probably hates it, but it's super cool. To build it, surround a chest with trapdoors, place a glass block, a map beneath it, and finish it off with a bucket of tropical fish. We'll have our own mini fish tank. How do you make a bamboo bridge? Just use stripped bamboo as the base and then bamboo signs for the rails. While carpets can create an easy rug, there is a much easier way. Just place some corals on top of waterlogged slabs to get fluffy rug. You can even mix and match different color types to create beautiful rug patterns. This is an illegal chair. With commands, you can set just the bottom half of a bed. Next, you can combine it with some trapdoors and a banner to create a sofa chair fit for a king. Chains are a great way to hang small blocks like lanterns, but they look a bit funky on bigger builds. To fix this issue, you can use grindstones as larger ones. Just alternate their direction to create these tough-looking chains. If you're building a nice sidewalk, try using some furnaces pointed inward and outward. This will be a sidewalk drain like those found in real life. While glowberries are meant to hang off the ceiling, we can change that. Simply place a potted bamboo underneath a glowberry and you'll have a glowberry plant. Campfires are normally used for cooking food, but they have a much better use. You can actually place them in racks like so and have them as shelves for your food. You can create a nice sushi mat by putting a fish in an item frame and then placing a bamboo pressure plate on top. Just try to ignore the texture glitches. When building in Minecraft, you should try to use a gradient of blocks to make sure things don't get stale. So if you've got a mud floor, a great way to spruce it up is by changing out some of the mud with brown mushroom blocks, which kind of looks like smooth mud. With just a few banners and lanterns, you can create a ghost. It's a perfect trick during Halloween. Ooh. Spore blossoms are great for adding particles to your builds, but an underrated trick is placing them in an invisible item frame. The tree will have small flowers growing on it. If you want to show your basement's rundown, a nice touch is placing a water block above, so water particles drip down from the ceiling. Signs can be terrifying! If you place one in a dark cave and apply a glow ink sack, it'll look like scary eyes are staring you down. Eek! Cattails aren't in Minecraft, but that doesn't mean we can't create them. Just place a support block, place some brown candles, and replace the bottom block with a plant of your choice. While not perfect, it's a great way to diversify your swamps and ponds. Campfire smoke can pass through blocks, so by placing looms on top of campfires and decorating around it, you can create a smoking grill for your outdoor cooking. If you place a few iron trapdoors around a slab and then type a face on a sign, you can get a futuristic tech drone. You can even change the face color from blue to red and it'll look angry. Ever wanted wall slabs? Well, this is the next best thing, because all you have to do is place beds and use a debug stick on the pillow. This will give you a beautiful wall floor. Just make sure the sides are covered so you don't see the bed frame sticking out. This plushie is so cute! You can create it by pushing around armor stands and dropping them repeatedly. Next, push in a stair block and finish it off with a banner that looks like a face. I love it! Ever wanted to be a stormtrooper? Well, by just combining some sharp armor trims, netherite, and iron armor, you'll have yourself a set of stormtrooper gear. Now, if you do the same thing with the snout armor trim and lapis lazuli, you can create Clone Wars armor. If you've got some exposed ores in your build, try adding some stone stairs and slabs to blend the ores in with the environment a bit better. Bamboo usually grows in large groups, but if you just want a tiny garden, place them in rows like this and have a chain going above so the bamboo doesn't grow too high. You can even use a debug stick to chain some of the bamboo to sprout leaves. A great way to hide light is shulker boxes. If you use the same color shulker box as the rest of your wall, you can hide a torch behind it and light will shine through. As an added bonus, you can still use the shulker as storage. Grass looks terrible in desert biomes, but with the help of moss blocks, we can create fake grass so you can still have bright green lawns. If you're going for an ancient build, try exchanging some of the bricks with stairs, and it'll look like the structure is breaking down. By placing two vertical trapdoors together, you'll get yourself what looks like a vertical slab. This works particularly well with the spruce trapdoor. Anvils are normally used for repairing and enchanting items. However, another interesting use case is as the floor. Due to the anvil's unique block model, we can create some pretty mesmerizing floor patterns. Minecart chests are supposed to be used on rails, but a better way to use them is squishing them into your build. We can create super compact storage designs that look just like normal furniture. It looks a lot more unique than just a boring chest. Beacons are a transparent block, so the beams can go through other beacons. Using this feature, you can stack a few up and build the pyramid out of different blocks to look like a custom beacon. Every garden needs a swing. Place trapdoors for the border, and along the top, place rails. Once you flip the trapdoors down, the rails will stay floating and provide roofing. Lastly, just place down a grindstone and chain to create the ultimate swing. If you're using leaves as bushes, try adding on some extra vines on top. It'll add some extra depth and make them a lot more pretty. While you can already put a sapling in a flower pot, it's so small. To create a slightly bigger one, place down a decorated pot, fence, and leaves. Now you'll have a mini tree. Ever wanted to waterboard a villager? To do so, simply put a villager in a cauldron and flip it over using a dinner bone name tag. Chains can then be hung above its feet to make it look like it's being hung there. If you place a campfire underneath a loom, it'll look like smoke is coming from a vent. Minecraft waterfalls are lame. Real-life waterfalls create mist and huge splashes. To emulate that in Minecraft, we can place campfires underneath the bottom of waterfalls to look like mist. While not perfect, it's a nice touch from afar. Campfires are needed in any great build, but you can make them even better. Just place some magma blocks behind and it'll look like hot burning coals behind the flames. If you're short on space, try stacking your decorations like this. You can have your barrels behind your ladders and a bed at the very top. This aquarium works without glass, but how? Simply place stairs at both the bottom and top like so. Next, waterlog the bottom stairs and then add water to the top stairs. Finally, fill the center with seagrass to create some source blocks throughout. Fish can now be added to happily swim inside. On Bedrock Edition, when you place string on top of walls, walls, it'll slightly raise them. But if you try the same thing on Java Edition, you'll get a bunch of mini lumps. By combining 2 grindstones, a mob skull in the front, and a block of TNT on top, it'll look like the mob is trying to throw TNT at you. You can make realistic playing cards using a loom and banners. If you then place them on invisible item frames, you'll get a complete poker table. By placing pumpkin blocks on the outside and dripstone for the teeth, you can encase your nether portal inside a giant jack-o'-lantern. It's quite fitting since the mouth will swallow you to another dimension. By combining invisible item frames and custom map art, we can create custom jack-o'-lanterns. They don't require any mods and can make your builds a million times spookier. To make your volcanoes 100 times better, place a campfire below the lava. This way your volcano will be puffing out toxic fumes. While you can't go to space in Minecraft, there's a way to simulate it. In the floor of your spaceship, place end portal blocks, and for the side windows, you can place down end gateway blocks. I feel like I'm actually in space. Coral turns gray if it doesn't touch water, so what we can do is place a coral on top of a waterlogged block. This way it'll look like the coral is magically still colored. Ouch! It's cactus too prickly! If you want a safer alternative, you can make some fake ones with bamboo blocks and amethyst crystals as tiny cactus fruit. If you're building in a cold biome, try hanging some blue glass panes from the roof. It'll look like icicles are hanging down. With just a frog light, some banners, and hanging signs, you can create a really cute looking lantern. It looks extra pretty at nighttime. Bugs are pretty cool, but platypuses are even better. To build one, use some daylight sensors, warped blocks, levers, candles, and a slab for the beak. It looks so cute. If you want a simple tiki torch, just prop up a simple pole, place down a campfire on top, and surround it with signs. You'll get a pretty light source that came straight from a tropical island. If you can't grow any grass, just make a fake one, just by placing moss carpet on a dirt block. Azalea leaves are amazing as bushes, but we can make them even better. By using invisible item frames and putting sunflowers inside, we can create yellow bushes. We can also try mixing in different flower types as well for more variation. Most players use a cauldron as their toilet, but it's a bit too big. You're more likely to fall into it than anything. Instead, dispense an armor stand into the ground and give it a diamond helmet. Next, push down a plank and an upside-down quartz stair. This toilet looks much better. For a super quick chandelier, try hanging some glowberries and trapdoors up like so. It'll be a very pretty addition to your dining room. Make sure to clip the ends with shears so they don't keep growing into a berry vineyard. Cobwebs are often used as chimney smoke, but it turns out coral fans look a lot better. They actually match the smoke color and the shapes look like puffs of smoke. Unfortunately, they have to be placed on top of invisible blocks in creative mode. Do you like my gaming setup? Invisible armor stands are holding up dyed shields, and they look just like monitors. The keyboard is made from an armor stand's iron helmet, and the mouse is just a button. When you place carpet on top of signs, the top of the sign will actually poke out. You can use this feature to create all sorts of crazy rug patterns, or even make a realistic looking road. We can make a better cauldron for the witch. Just place a respawn anchor and fully load it up. Next, place a trapdoor on the side and place a campfire beneath it. This is much spookier. By placing a bunch of different colored buttons on some stone, we can create a rock climbing wall. You can even make some of the buttons activate pistons, so you can actually try climbing upwards. Or if you have invisible item frames, you can have colorful concrete grips instead. The next time you build a dark oak wall, try adding some cartography tables for added detail. They have a vertical texture compared to the horizontal planks, so you can create some interesting appearances with this. If you're looking to cook some stew, place a cauldron on top of a campfire. Next, push a couple of fences into armor stands, and you'll have a cooking pot held over a fire. For your desert-themed builds, you can use cherry leaves as a natural carpet for your floor. Tired of chests? Use this instead! Place barrels as the base, put an iron trapdoor in an item frame, and finish it off with a sign to get a drawer with handles. With just a few trapdoors and carpets on top, we can create a pool floaty. We can even extend it an extra block and add some snow layers as a headrest. Dripstone normally connects if you place it at the bottom and top, but if you hold shift and place the dripstone down, it won't connect. This way you can create realistic pointed teeth. If you take 2 lecterns side by side, you can create a 2-block wide book. If you place skulk veins on top of a diamond block, it'll look like a blue magma block. You can even place a skulk vein on different types of coral blocks to create all kinds of colorful variations. With some stairs, stone bricks, and a dispenser, you can make a working medieval cannon. Be careful not to set your house on fire! By using a lever and some chains, you can hang a lantern from the wall. If you're tired of normal plank floors, you can exchange them with beehives. This way you'll get more unique floor tiles compared to every other house. But if you want a Nintendo Switch, place 3 armor stands, equip them with custom skulls, and push them towards the center. Next, just push a block down on top, and you'll have a Nintendo Switch all in vanilla Minecraft. Having a trapdoor at the top of your ladders used to be a pain because you couldn't climb up them. However, in version 1.9, this was changed, and now trapdoors could be climbed, if directly above a ladder. This allows us to create cursed ladders like this, where a ladder is is alternated with a trapdoor. You can even take it one step further and create a two-sided ladder. Make sure not to flip the trapdoor though, it'll break the ladder. Don't build your chimney like this. Instead, just add an extra wall block and pressure plate to make it a lot more realistic. This is because chimneys in real life have a cap to prevent objects from getting in. Candles are so short. However, a pretty cool way to make them taller is by just placing them on top of an end rod. You can even mix the colors up and try a green candle on top of a bamboo or even an orange candle on top of an end rod. You could exchange the wood on trees for dripstone to get gorgeous palm trees. But if you're very rich, you can even try using ancient debris. They're perfect for a tropical build. If you mix in some barrels with your spruce floor, you'll get this unique checkerboard pattern. As an added bonus, you'll be able to use your floor as storage. Minecraft needs more desserts. All we have are cakes and cookies. So to make our own, just combine an end rod and stripped cherry log. It'll look like cotton candy. If you place a button on an invisible item frame, it'll look like a tiny bug. You can have them crawling on anything from cakes, logs, and even your own floor. But if you exchange the items for a glowing item frame and birch buttons, you can get some cool fireflies. If you want a bigger flower pot, try placing it on top of a decorated pot. The textures match up perfectly and will make everyone jealous of your giant pots. You can build using the sun and moon. During the day, the sun will align perfectly on top of the left hand, and at night, the moon will rest on the right hand. If you waterlog a block, you can surprisingly place lily pads on top. This allows us to create cursed builds like this. You can use commands to summon a spyglass on an armor stand. Then if you rotate it, it'll look like a bottle sitting on a counter. While normal bookshelves are pretty boring, chiseled bookshelves can actually be used to create really cool designs. By placing books into specific positions, we can create bookshelf pixel art. Portals are normally lame, but you can make them so much cooler. By placing some acacia and warped wood, you can create a Japanese-themed portal. But if you want a more natural look, try surrounding your portal with stones, leaves, and grass. It'll look like the portal magically appeared from the ground. But my all-time favorite portal design is surrounding the portal in amethyst, calcite, and geode blocks. The colors just blend so nicely. By mixing podzol blocks into your river, you can make it seem like mud, which will add texture to your rivers. If part of your wood builds go underwater, try swapping out the sunken parts with dark oak logs. The wood underwater will look soaked, because the textures perfectly align. By combining mud with mangrove roots, you'll get a block that looks just like a rotten melon. You can place a withered rose right next to it as the stem. But if you want your front lawn to look unique as well, try exchanging some of the grass with moss blocks, and it'll look like your grass is mowed. If you want a keyboard for your computer setup, dispense an armor stand into the side of your table, and then give it a chainmail helmet. To get an RGB keyboard, give the armor stand an enchanted helmet. To finish your setup, you can create a mouse with an invisible item frame and candle. If you just killed the ender dragon and want to show your friends, try building a statue of a dead dragon with just some black stone, coal blocks, amethyst crystals, and a dragon head. You'll create a pretty cool looking dragon. You can even add an end rod with a candle on top to look like it has a sword in its head. There aren't many birds in Minecraft, but if you want a pet owl, you can just place down a grindstone and then an owl head on top. Although it won't be moving around anytime soon, it's an interesting build. Banners sway gently in the wind, so you can actually combine them with glowing item frames to create blinking lights. It involves no redstone and is all just a banner flapping back and forth in front of them. It looks especially cool inside underground tunnels. Armor stands are boring, but there's a better way to show off your gear. Using pistons, push down blocks on top of your armor stand to create a glass case. And if you're feeling extra fancy, push down 2 glass blocks on top of an armor stand to showcase your entire set. While pipes don't exist in Minecraft, you can actually use pistons to look like them by angling them to their sides. You can make your furnaces look like they are connected to a power source. Bone mealing an azalea bush will turn it into an entire tree. But if that's too big for your liking, you can actually just put a moss block on top of the bush to make it only a tad larger. The same can be done with flowering versions as well. Swamp biomes don't have much color, so to liven this place up, place a coral fan on top of a warped trapdoor to create a new kind of lily pad. To add a bigger pillow to your bed, place an armor stand on top of a few snow layers, give it a dyed leather helmet, and place your bed. This looks much more comfortable. By using a few stone stairs and slabs, you can actually create a wither engraved into the wall. For the head, you can even use a chiseled nether brick. If you place a target block on top of a quartz pillar, you'll notice something pretty cool. The lines on the blocks actually line up. This way you can have some pretty seamless target pillars. Want the ultimate library? In between one of your bookshelves, just carve a hole out and fill it in with water. In this area, you can add a fish and seagrass to create a mini aquarium. To add some extra depth, use wood and trapdoors to create a circle shape and finish it off with some extra decoration. Your library will look so much better. This sugarcane is growing with lava, but how? Just plant a sugarcane normally, then push a block into the water with a piston. You can now exchange the block for whatever you want, and lava looks pretty cursed. While armor stands don't have arms in Java Edition, that doesn't mean that we can't at least pretend, because by overlapping a fence gate with an armor stand, you'll create the illusion of it having arms. Decorated pots are great for adding some details to your builds, but an unexpected way to use them is actually as pillars. They work surprisingly well to hold up your roofs. You just caught some fish but have nowhere to put it. Luckily, you can build one of these fish racks with some chains and invisible item frames. The fish can then be hung up to dry. Most players use fences for their castle gates, but lecterns also fit surprisingly well. They're much thicker and look like they'd stop a ravager from barging through. Minecraft has both normal mushrooms and tree mushrooms, but no in between. So we can make our own by just combining an end rod and a mushroom block. It's a great middle ground from the two extremes. Check out my gaming setup! You may be wondering how it's made, but turns out it's pretty simple. Use a loom to create a line on a block banner and then add a border around the banner. Once you place the banner down, just put a block on the top half of the banner to get a monitor. By using a composter, using a fireplace and filling it up to the brim, it'll look like a pot full of tasty stew. Path blocks are a great fit for grass, but how about for stone? Turns out you can use iron ore and raw iron blocks to create a rusty pathway, matching the aesthetic. If you're terrible with bows, you need to build this. It uses a target block and a comparator. The closer your arrow is to the bullseye, the further the redstone pulse will go up. And if you hit the bullseye, a firework will shoot up. Yay! Look at this campfire, it's so cool! To make it, dig a hole and place 3 layers of snow in each spot. Next, set up pistons around the holes and push the armor stands into the corners. Then place armor stands between the others and push grass blocks down into them. Finally, equip each of the armor stands with a skeleton skull and light the center on fire. This looks so cozy! If you want a working stove, drop a hopper Minecraft on top of a campfire. Then use a piston to push an iron trapdoor on top to customize your kitchen. You can create a mini universe. Simply place some sculpt blocks down as outer space. Use a custom skull to be the earth. Finally, add invisible item frames with fire charges and firework stars inside for extra effects. While we're all used to wheat and carrot farms, how about cabbages? You can build this design by placing turtle shell armor stands on top of a daylight sensor. Next, push down a dirt block on top of them, and when you till the soil, the green helmets will poke up, looking like cabbages. The cartography table has the same texture as dark oak plants, so by mixing it into our table like so, it'll look like the table has small items scattered on top. Armor stands are amazing for creating custom builds. Using them, you can create this custom swing. It uses carpet for the tops and bows for the ropes. Minecraft boats are lame, so let's instead create a realistic one, using some spruce block, banners, and a lantern. You can finish it off by adding a boat inside so you can actually sit down. You can create a working closet. Just place down a few trapdoors, armor stands, scaffolding, and finish with doors in the front. This will give you a nice, organized place to access your precious gear. Spyglasses are great, but ever wanted binoculars? Well, by just using these commands, you can lay down and rotate spyglasses to create a set of binoculars. Using similar commands, you can even make this telescope. You can't look through it, but it's an amazing trick to level up your desk. Run! While mobs with armor are scary enough, you can actually give them armor trim gear, and it'll make them look terrifying. I really like how it looks on piglins. You can make this PlayStation with no mods. Place a custom skull on the bottom of the PlayStation. Dispense an armor stand into the same block, and equip it with another mob skull. Now, for 2 game controllers, just place 2 armor stands like so, equip them with skulls, and push blocks on top of them. It's quite simple, yet looks super cool. If you hang some chains from a tree and attach some slabs below, you'll have a swing. This is a guardian robot. It's a clever design using blocks like hoppers, walls, and stairs. It looks like a cyborg robot staring you down. Trapdoors can be used to create water pipes. The cool thing is that these pipes can actually function to transfer items from one location to another. Cherry biomes are covered in petals. However, they can also be used to create interesting pixel art. Another use for flower petals is creating a beautiful cherry pathway. It's pretty romantic and perfect for a Valentine's build. Building in the water can be a pain because you have to pillar up from the bottom of the ocean. However, you can just use lily pads instead to start building from the surface. If you want a realistic pool table, place hoppers and signs down as the base. Next, fill the gaps with wall blocks and place carpets on top. On the sides, place trapdoors to cover the holes. And to take it to another level, use invisible item frames with colored blocks inside to look like balls. When piglins minions enter the overworld, they quickly turn zombified. However, a cool trick we can do is dispensing a piglin head on top. This feels so wrong though. Ever wanted to tap trees for maple syrup? Well, with a tripwire hook and some trapdoors, you can create the illusion of sap dripping into a barrel. And in the nether, you can even mix it up and get red sap from the crimson trees and green sap from warp trees. Sculk blocks look surprisingly close to end portal blocks. Using them, we can make a pretty funny recreation of an end portal. We can also use reinforced deep slate and sculk blocks to make it look activated. Do you see where I hid my diamonds? It's actually underneath this cake. You can make it by placing a few snow layers, dropping a minecart chest inside, and squishing a composter down on top. To hide the chest, just place a cake on top. When you go to store your diamonds, make sure you have another cake to replace the eaten one, or your hidden stash won't be so hidden. With 2 hanging signs and trapdoors on top, you'll make a cute picnic table. And if you're in the deserts, try using bamboo wood instead. Torches don't work well underwater, but a way prettier alternative is using lanterns under lily pads. It's a great way to light up your rivers. And if you're feeling rich, you can even try using soul lanterns, which make the lake seem magical. If you're going for a broken down look, try using some hanging signs to show your bridge being broken. You can create a super fun game with just a few blocks. Begin by creating the border of your game and then fill the insides with drip leaf. Last one standing wins! The game can be made even more challenging by adding some snowballs that players can throw to take down the drip leaves. Get off my lawn! If your lawn is infested with chickens, try scaring them off with this. Use prismarine blocks and slabs to create the outline of your crocodile. Add warped buttons as the ridges, a banner as the eyes, and you can dispense an armor stand with a dragon head at the face to create the nose of your crocodile. Actually, this is kinda cute. This is an Xbox, and building it is actually quite easy. Place down the top of the console, then dispense an armor stand into the side. Once you equip it with the bottom skull, your Xbox will be complete. With just a few trapdoors, a lectern, and a glass block, we can create this super fancy display case for our books. It's super cheap, yet looks perfect for storing our precious novels. A super fancy decoration is a tombstone. By using some stone bricks and stairs, you can create the outline of the tomb. Use lecterns on the inside to create what looks like a casket. And if you want the tombstone to look extra realistic, try replacing some of the blocks with mossy and cracked bricks. If you place 2 spruce trapdoors on the floor like so, it'll look like a fallen door. People will be more careful when entering your house when they see this. How do you make this tree? Dripstone blocks are used as a stem and flowering azalea leaves are used as the branches. A cool trick we can do is put azalea bushes on the floor to look like some flowers fell to the ground. Fish tanks are normally pretty big, but if you want a smaller one, just drop a minecart on some waterlogged sea pickles and any fish inside will stay hydrated. It takes up way less space and in my opinion looks much more unique. This is a katana. To create it, put 2 armor stands and push blocks downward to get the holder. Next, push 2 chains on one side and a lightning rod on the other side to get your legendary katana. Since armor stands are entities, they can be stacked on top of each other. This way you can make an armor stand seem alive or even mix around different mob heads like a skeleton or a dragon. Lanterns need to be placed on the ground or supported in the air, otherwise they'll break. Luckily, glass panes are nearly invisible, so you can attach your lanterns to them to get floating lanterns. You can even connect leads and chickens together to make the lanterns look like they're held up by ropes. With invisible item frames, we can make decorations so it looks like weapons and tools are hung upside down. You can hang a boat from a crane. It utilizes chains and a grindstone to look like the boat is slowly being lowered down. And if you want to set sail, just open the trapdoor to drop down the boat. Labeling your chest with item frames is pretty cool, but if you have a lot, they'll start to lag your game since they're considered as entities. A better idea is just using signs, because you can create text art with them to visualize what items are inside. You can even dye the signs to make them even more unique. You can build a cute little picnic with just some wool as the carpet, pressure plates, and a shovel as the spoon. Most people know you can waterlog stairs, but a cool trick to do this with them is to create tiny rivers. You can also add cactus in flower pots to create a miniature desert world. Ever wanted working players? Well, just dispense an armor stand into a fence gate, place a hay bale on top, and equip the armor stand with gear. It'll look like the player is working on his farm. The front of observers looks like a face, so we can actually create a robot using one as the head, hoppers for the shoulders, and a grindstone as the wheel. Circles are hard to come by in Minecraft, which is why if you're trying to make wheels, a cheap and easy alternative is just using mangrove trapdoors as them. With just 4 stairs facing into each other and lining the top with birch trapdoors, you'll create a super expensive looking table. By placing a lever on top of a blast furnace, you'll get yourself a really old TV. It fits really well inside of an old-fashioned house. By placing a gold ore underneath a beehive, you can make it look like the honey dripped onto the floor. Instead of huge 1-block gap rivers, try using waterlogged stairs. They offer a much tighter footprint and are a lot better for smaller water streams. You can actually put mobs on display. Just trap a mob in this small area, place a wall on the ground so the creeper can't can't escape. Glass blocks can be squished into it, giving you your very own creeper pet. Want floating lanterns? Lanterns normally can't float in the air, but with the help of trapdoors, you can create a cage around it. They look really pretty at night. This is a working swing, but how do you build it? Begin by placing the supports of the swing and digging out a section for powered rails. In here, you'll place a saddled strider and then cover him up with string and moss carpet. For the ropes of the swing, attach leads to chickens and cover them up. Lastly, just splash the strider with invisibility to get your fully functional swing. With a few stairs, you can create a really simple creeper face. How do you create this super long piston? Place a piston, right-click it with a debug stick, then add fences in between, and set the piston head using commands. This is like an extended piston. By placing two drip leaf together like so, you'll create a nice little bench. But if you want to make sure the bench doesn't fall on you, place two redstone torches below the drip leaf, which will activate them and make them no longer fall over. The picture's plant's growth stages all look quite different. The middle stage in particular looks like a potato. So by mixing one up in one of your potato farms, it'll look like a giant potato growing. Make sure to put string on top though to make sure the picture plant doesn't keep on growing. With a few chains, a pot, and a flower, you can make a hanging plant. A bigger one can be made too, using trapdoors and a berry bush. If you want to keep out monsters off your lawn, do this! Mobs will avoid walking over berry bushes, so just plant them beneath the ground and place carpets on top to blend in with the background. Good luck getting in now. By placing crying obsidian and trapdoors underneath, you can have some spooky particles falling from your ceiling. The extra particles fit pretty well inside of a portal room. Minecraft doesn't have seasons, but that doesn't mean we can't fake them. When it turns autumn, we can exchange leaves out with copper grates to show the leaves changing colors. A custom autumn tree can also be made with birch logs and grates. Although the top of the autocrafter looks quite unique, the bottom texture is equally interesting. You can use them as a nice ceiling texture for your enchanting rooms, and as an added bonus, you can hide items up there. If you have a railway system leading underground, you can easily trap it with a detector rail and a piston sending you falling. I love this house! It uses a modular design where you can stack different rooms on top of each other. Lecterns were used as the fencing, and the glass was alternated with panes. It gives the house a unique finish that most houses lack. This is a simple yet modern house. If you build two cubes on top like so, you can connect them from the bottom with a water stream. This way, we'll be able to enter the second room whenever we want. It looks very modern and it's very functional too. When placed on its side, the autocrafter looks like a cupboard. You can add this to your kitchens, and items can actually be stored in them too. Jungles have a ton of tall trees, and they're close enough together where we can connect with bridges using slabs and fences. Ladders aren't needed either, since you can just use vines. But the best thing is that if you ever need more room, you can easily make it bigger by connecting to more trees. Bridges offer a great way to cross bodies of water, but with most of them being built out of either wood or stone, it can get pretty repetitive. So a unique way to build a bridge is actually out of copper. Using all the different variations, along with mud walls and fences, we can create a rustic bridge that fits well in a steampunk setting. You can make a futuristic door with just autocrafters. Although it won't open, it's a nice decoration for a locked room. If your base is in the desert, you should probably use cactus. You can surround your entire base with cactus like this, and the mobs will push each other into it. But to stop players, you can put boats around the base, and all mobs that get trapped in them will attack players trying to enter. In giant spruce tree biomes, it's common to find very large trees. With these trees, you can make a simple platform using spruce wood, and on the inside, there's enough space for all the essentials. You can build this entire thing in under 5 minutes, and it looks pretty good. Copper blocks are perfect for industrial factories, and with the copper variations, you can make cogs of different sizes and colors. It is possible to get your head through commands, so you can make a doll that tricks players into thinking you're home. Any thieves looking from afar will instantly turn back, thinking that you're still there. By leading a mob and then attaching it to a fence, you can make it look like the tent is being held up by ropes. The mob underneath is probably not enjoying its job though. If you want a super cool way to defend your base, try this bomber plane. It duplicates TNT on any of your enemies below. On a sunny Minecraft day, you need to have a barbecue. Just use autocrafters as the base, surround it with trapdoors, and place campfires underneath. Utensils can also be placed on the side to cook the meat with. Trial spawners are meant for dungeon battles, but they can also be used as storage crates. To create it, simply dig 2 blocks down, place a daylight sensor, a smithing table, and then your trial spawner. Next, dispense an armor stand into the side and equip it with a helmet. Finish it off with a pressure plate and you'll have a crate to store your gear. With a few copper trapdoors and green glass, you can build a toxic waste bin. Stepping on top won't hurt you too much though. The most classic way to protect your base is just by using 2 dirt blocks. To enter and exit, break 2 dirt blocks into the side of the world and almost no one will be able to find it. Just make sure no one is spying on you. A giant crane can be built by combining copper trapdoors, acacia wood, and chains. Mixing the different orange blocks works really well, and this crane is amazing to have in your construction sites. If you have a ton of enemies outside, you'll need something that shoots quickly. By placing redstone torches, redstone, and dispensers like this, you'll create a rapid-fire turret. Anything can be put in here, from arrows to fire charges to fireworks. This contraption is special because you can extend it horizontally as much as you want. If you're feeling lazy, a super simple Minecraft base is just building an outer fence around your base. It'll stop mobs from entering for the most part. You just have to deal with pesky skeletons. Ouch! But if you want a house no one can enter, try this lava base. You might notice that there are a bunch of dispensers placed around here. They are placed all around the house. Once you're inside the house, you can activate them with a lever, and the dispensers will all shoot out lava surrounding your house, with lava ensuring maximum protection. You can do this very simply by connecting dispensers under the house to a redstone line. Polar bears can get very lonely, so let's live with them. You can actually build straight into an iceberg to create a cute little home. And if you're ever hungry, you can just step outside to go fishing. This house may seem ugly and normal, but it has a secret ability. If a creeper explodes nearby, nothing will happen. This is due to command blocks filling in oak planks that are in repeat mode. It's quite simple to do, and will create a completely indestructible home. But if you don't want to burn down the world, you can also do the exact opposite with a water house. This base will fire out water at all sides of your base, so no mobs can enter. It's an extremely simple design, but very effective. Most city buildings are missing something crucial. In the case of a fire, there needs to be a quick way out. So by using copper trapdoors and fences, we can create a fire escape. You can make a rusty one with oxidized copper and warped fences, or a brand new looking one with copper and jungle fences. They're a bit difficult to climb down, but their looks more than make up for it. This next defense is unstoppable because guardians have 100% accuracy and can be perched up on towers like this to create Tesla beams. Anyone who comes nearby will be shot down. Another way to create a great attack tower is with wardens. By using bubble beams, you can actually bring the warden to the surface and trap them in attack towers, or they'll shoot the most overpowered sonic boom. Obviously, we can't be selfish and not make a house for our pets. For our dogs, we can create a simple one using a few stairs and trapdoors. The dog can stay in there when it rains. For our parrots, we can create a small house for them on top of fences, or you can even push a glass block on top of the parrot to create a glass cage. This house may look safe to enter, but it's actually extremely deadly. Underneath each of the trapdoors are poisonous pufferfish. Anyone trying to walk over it will instantly be poisoned. To make sure no mobs attack, you can build a hostile mob switch. These contraptions overflow the world with hostile mobs and make it so no more can spawn. But one of the best ways to not get raided is by having your base impossible to reach. By building your base at the world border, you'll make it so very few people will want to come attack you. And you can even build your base against the border for extra protection. The copper golem was unfortunately rejected. In honor of it, we can build these golem assembly machines. It shows us what we could have had. Although trees are typically made from wood, tough stone and deep slate are great for alternatives for bonsai trees. The gray colors of these stones provide a more fitting match than traditional wood. Additionally, you can simulate a dead tree by removing the leaves, although I personally prefer the look of a living one. Normally, flooding your house would be something you want to avoid, but doing so will actually make it so mobs don't spawn inside. However, if you're not looking to devalue your base, you can also just use slabs as the floor, and they'll work too. The lush caves are one of the prettiest biomes. You can dig into the wall and create a secret lair. Inside, you'll have all your valuables along with a display of your axolotls. Make sure to use blocks found on the inside of lush caves like deep slate and glowberries to not break the aesthetic of the biome. This house is an optical illusion. The eyes follow you around as you move. To make it, just place slabs and stairs in this way. The house will stare down any intruders who try to rob you. One of the best ways to hide your base is underwater because very few people actually check there. To make sure no one can find it, choose a spot that has a lot of seagrass and hide the base around the corner so no light goes through. Super secure and efficient. Auto crafters can be used as an electronic stove in your kitchen. Place campfires underneath as well to show food is cooking. With just 2 auto crafters, we can make a simple waffling iron. Traffic lights are essential for your roads, but they don't have to be boring. You can create a unique traffic light by using tough stone blocks and inserting stained glass panes into item frames. For some reason, mobs aren't able to walk over rails, so you can set up a simple piston to push up rails and no monster will be able to enter your house. You can also use 2 end rods like this or lightning rods if you're feeling extra fancy. Just be careful of skeletons. Owie! This is the burning trench. If you have just a normal hole of magma, the mobs won't go down. But for some reason, when you dig a slanted trench like this, the mobs will just run straight down to their deaths. You guys aren't very smart. Everyone knows that skulk sensors detect vibrations, but But you can create a super overpowered trap by placing a ton of TNT underground with a skulk sensor next to it. Make sure to walk away carefully. The next bystander to walk over will be dust. But to make any TNT trap 100 times deadlier, you can swap out TNT for a ton of TNT minecarts, and it'll create an instant explosion. Iron bars are typically used to close an area off, but they only fit well in prisons. A better alternative is copper grates. They can be used to create a mesh barrier that will section off your valuables. It's a sturdy way to prevent other players and mobs from entering. Natural lighting is key for any build, but if normal glass blocks aren't doing the job, try exchanging them out with copper grates. You'll have metal windows, and in my opinion, they fit a lot nicer here. They can also be used in some type of prison. Using ender pearls, you can teleport through walls, so always make them 2 blocks thick, or make sure to trap the other side if you don't want players sneaking through. Tough bricks make for a great sidewalk, and we can also angle the stairs like so and place down a grate as a street drain. The chiseled copper black sort of looks like a wheel. We can attach it to the bottom of our wagon and it fits in nicely. Imagine living inside a video game console. Well, you can simulate it by creating a Switch console outline with blue and red concrete. You can turn the screen into your home, and it'll look like you're a character in the game. Dripstones fit nicely inside of caves, but they only come in one color. You can make some colorful alternatives with different copper and wall blocks. The blue ones fit well in underwater builds, and the orange ones look great inside mesa caves. With some copper blocks and an auto crafter, we can build a payphone. You can even have a flickering light by using a simple observer clock beneath it. I can't wait to make phone calls on this! If you're looking for a natural defense, you need bamboo and berry bushes. The bamboo will create a beautiful barricade, stopping mobs from entering, and the berry bushes will spike the mobs. This combination is surprisingly great at stopping mobs, while players can still slip around the tight bamboo gaps. Now, copper is mostly used for buildings and structures, but it also works great for statues. Utilizing the different variants, we can create this warrior robot. At the end of an arm, we can even attach an iron bar as a blade. Village houses are everywhere. If you want to make them look fancier, add a window to the roof, some trapdoors as shutters, and in the front, make a small roof that will block the rain. Players are always looking for secret entrances, so you can prepare a fake one. It can be anything like a moving bookshelf door, but make sure it's somewhat obvious. When the button is pressed, instead of opening a door, an anvil is released from high up. Tridents with the channeling enchantment strike lightning whenever it lands on a mob or lightning rod. Using this feature, channeling tridents can be placed on top of end rods and bounced up and down to create a lightning generator. You can then surround your entire base with these, and good luck to anyone trying to break in. Oxidized copper trapdoors can be combined with carpet to create a tall chair, or normal copper can be mixed with acacia wood to create these simple seats. But if you want one way bigger, copper grates and jungle wood can be used for this king chair. This house will scare anyone. Use lava for the walls and fire for the roof. No one will want to enter this house, and if you want to get in, just throw a pearl inside. Most players build their walls out of a single block. However, by using a gradient like so, you can create a much more realistic build. While copper normally doesn't fit well with water, the oxidized version does. We can construct beautiful aquariums using oxidized copper blocks as a support. I'm sure the fish love living here. A nether house isn't very scary, but to make it challenging to enter, have your house above lava and make the entrance on a tightrope far away. You have to be pretty good at balancing to make it to your base. Oops! This is one of the strangest houses you'll ever see. It's a house made completely out of boats. You can do it by pushing boats on top of each other in survival or summoning the boats in creative mode. Although it looks simple, it's pretty tough to assemble, and if a creeper blows up nearby, it can completely destroy all your hard work. When you're decorating your bedroom, you'll need a dresser. However, instead of using just a boring chest, create a unique one with a few crafters, trapdoors, and a heavy core. You can even top it off with a pretty cherry sapling to look extra pretty. Look at my aquarium! It utilizes copper trapdoors and copper bulbs to create this beautiful build. It fits in a small footprint, yet can be quite colorful with tropical fish and coral. While villagers in the overworld have these basic lamps, they could be so much better. You can create a steampunk-style lamp with lightning rods, acacia trapdoors, and a copper bulb. It fits particularly well in acacia villages. Or if you want an industrial lamp, you can build one with tough bricks, fences, and hoppers. The light produced by the lamp is all from the glowing item frames. Powdered snow is great for trapping invaders, but the problem is that it's so easy to escape. But you can improve the trap by combining powdered snow with slime blocks. Creating a contraption like this is impossible to escape, even with an efficiency 5 shovel. They'll be goners unless they have a flaming bow or buckets. Someone please let me out! Most farms are pretty boring. They're just full of crops and nothing else. But if we want to add some extra decorations, a tractor would be a great fit. Blackstone stairs can be used for the wheels, copper blocks are used for the tractor body, and auto crafters are used for the headlights. The tractor will completely upgrade individual wheat farms. This house is larger than you think. To create it, find a small hill and build up a small house in front of it. Behind the front entrance, dig into the hill and create a huge room. Although the house may look small from the outside, once you enter, it'll seem a whole lot bigger. Barrier blocks are invisible unless you hold one in your hand. With these items, you can make yourself an invisible house that no one knows about. It wouldn't be until you hold one in your hand that you can see your illegal red home. But if you want a house everyone would notice, try building out a red outline like this. Stairs on the side, and then have one giant window in the middle. This space looks suspicious. Minecraft cars are normally super simple, but with all the new blocks we've gotten through the years, it's time for an upgrade. One car can be built with tough bricks, stairs, and iron trapdoors. It's a super compact car with lots of small details. Tripwire hooks are used as a side mirrors and a copper grate for the hood of the car. I'll definitely feel safe driving this. To prevent players from destroying your security house, use this! Elder Guardians give mining fatigue to all players in a 50-block radius, so anyone trying to destroy your beautiful builds won't have a very good time. Well, unless they have TNT. Gosh darn it! While you can get water straight from a river, it's not very creative. You can make a water dispenser by pushing two armor stands together like so, pushing them against a wall, and then compressing blocks down on top. Follow this by placing a copper grate on top to store the water and adding iron trapdoors to the sides. You can use it to fill up your water bottles, and it fits perfectly in an office setting. It's impossible to place blocks below the void, but there's an illegal way to live there. Shulkers can actually be spawned below bedrock, and using cheats, you can create a walkable platform out of them. And if you want to get out, the shulkers will levitate you right back up. Mini robots can also be made by just placing a crafter on top of a grindstone, or a funny one with an opened gate as the feet. Iron trapdoors are the body, and an auto crafter for the head. We'll have lovely robots to keep us company. The desert is a great place to build since it never rains. The roof of this house was made of trapdoors where glowberries could be hung from. On the side, stairs can be used to access the house, taking advantage of different sandstone variants. Finally, we can just add some texture around the outside. Instead of using glass panes, try using copper trapdoors for some fantastic windows. The colors and designs fit better for stone builds. If you want a simple cage for your dog, just surround it in copper trapdoors. It will be a sturdy cage and will protect it from mobs and even a creeper blast. By placing some trapdoors and redstone, you can make a lava bridge. If anyone is trying to chase you from behind, just flick the switch and send them falling. I've always wanted to live in a treehouse. To make one, simply use 4 jungle saplings to create a huge tree and build a ladder going all the way to the top. For the entrance, make sure to have a few trapdoors so mobs can't follow you up. When you build a house, you make it oriented upwards. But if you're tired of this and want to surprise your friends, try flipping your house over. And if you're extra dedicated, you can build a completely functional one like this. End crystals make amazing defenses because they explode instantly. You can set up the ultimate defense by aiming dispensers with snowballs at end crystals. Then whenever trespassers come by, flip the switch! You can make an indestructible wall. To create it, just use stairs and waterlog them with water. This will create a wall that TNT can't blow up, but if players try breaking through, you can set observers on the other side rigged with a ton of TNT. Fireplaces are great for warming up your house, but they can also be dangerous if you get too close. A solution to this is adding copper grates in front of the fires. Now the fires can't hurt me or my dog. But something even cooler are snow golems. They can actually be stacked on top of each other, and when hostile creatures come nearby, they'll rapid fire them, giving us a snowball machine gun. They won't do damage, but are amazing to knock mobs far away from your house. Blazes constantly shoot fireballs, which makes them amazing for defending your base. You can set them around your house as turrets, and they'll light anyone who comes nearby on fire. If getting blazes is too hard, you can easily replace the blazes with skeletons and place lava in front of them, making them shoot flaming arrows at all intruders. Minecraft has tons of different stone variations. With them, we're able to build sturdy statues. In this particular creation, over 10 different stone types were utilized, ranging from tough wall arms to a stone face. All those stone types lets us create amazing textures. Using copper stairs and slabs, we can make a funny crab. Heavy cores can even be added on top for some fancy eyes. The top of the auto crafter looks like a tic-tac-toe board, and the cool part is you can right-click to actually play inside of the GUI. If you attach a copper bulb to a lightning rod, you can make a really simple light switch. Just flick the button to turn it off and on. Different ceiling lights can also be made by surrounding it in trapdoors or stair blocks. A great way to make sure mobs can't enter your base is by using alternating fence types. Mobs won't be able to get through, but you'll be able to just walk around. With an auto crafter, deep slate block, and grindstone, we can create a cute robot with levers as arms. We can even give it a straw hat with bamboo trapdoors, or exchange it out with a flower on its head. It's adorable! Although Although this stone block doesn't look very impressive, we can level it up. By just carving in some stone stairs and adding some buttons, we can turn the simple cube into a house I'd love to live in. We've all built an underground base before, but it's so ugly. Instead, build a circle-shaped house and build the roof out of glass. Build the walls out of wood, and if you want to expand, just place tunnels on each wall. This will look way cleaner than a dirt hole. These lava pools are amazing for hiding secret bases. The lava is held up by signs, allowing you to jump right through and into a pool of water. To make sure you don't take damage, jump from a higher point to gain momentum. Just make sure you jump into the right spot. Out! Help! Amethyst geodes are a very beautiful structure. To turn it into a pretty house, just smooth out the entrance with some slabs and decorate the inside with glowberries and furniture. If your friend ever steals your carrots, you can get revenge by giving him all the carrots he'll ever want. Cover his house all in item frames and fill them up with carrots. He'll be lagging and his house will look ugly. This is a mob launcher. You can build it with just a few pistons, redstone, and slime blocks. To activate, just press this button and anything can be launched from zombies, witches, or even charged creepers. This is one of the most creative houses. A portal splits the house in two from the normal world and the nether side. It looks like half the house is transported from the nether. This layered defense is great for stopping mobs. Just place a border of water to prevent endermen. The honey will trap some mobs, and the final layer of lava will stop all the rest. Iron golems are one of the toughest mobs in the game, which is why they make a great defense. Once it turns night, just unleash the beasts, and they'll slay out any hostile creatures nearby. What's the smallest base in Minecraft? Well, this comes pretty close, since it's only a 2x2x2 and fits all the resources you could ever need. Everyone knows shipwrecks have hidden loot inside, but turns out they have another use. If the shipwreck is close to the shore, you can actually extend it and turn it into a nice dock base. It makes a great vacation home. We can build orange sewer pipes using stripped acacia logs paired with chiseled copper blocks. For the mechanical components like water pumps, oxidized copper is an excellent choice. Copper fits very well for sewer builds. In your large mining zones, you can create a sieve using copper trapdoors and black stone walls. If you need a house quick, this will be an instant house. Just create the outline of your base using saplings and bone meal them. Once you clean up the leaves on the inside, you'll get an amazing shelter. By placing a copper trapdoor and a coral fan on top, you'll get a water lily. By filling up walls of lava and surrounding them with water, you'll create regenerating walls. This will make it so anyone trying to mine through will have a very difficult time because the cobblestone walls will just keep on healing. Placing a copper grate on the floor looks like a drain. With the 1.18 caves and cliffs update, these huge mountains are generated with caves underneath. You can hang a sphere house using grindstones as giant chains. It will be a bit difficult to enter, but you can build a small entrance to drop down at the top. The hanging house is way too cool to not build. To add some depth to your windows, just place some copper trapdoors beside them to create shutters. They fit especially well in front of bright colors like sandstone and will add some depth to your house exterior. An expensive lamp can be made by placing a copper bulb on top of a dragon egg. Acacia buttons can also be added onto it to turn it off and on easily. Wind charges are great for boosting yourself, but what if you want to launch even higher? Just place 4 dispensers inward and then fill them up with wind charges. Activating the contraption will boost you into the sky, and it works on other mobs too. This is a laser door. By using some redstone, fence gates, and beacons, you can create a security door that looks like lasers are blocking the way. When you turn it off, the beacons turn off, and the fence gates beneath the snow open, allowing you to cross. Tough bricks are the perfect color to match in between deep slate and stone bricks. It lets you create an extremely smooth gradient. But if you want an even cooler house, you can build straight into an ice spike. To get inside, you can create a bubble beam elevator blasting you upwards. It's especially good since most mobs will have trouble reaching you this high up. I'm unstoppable! With just a few auto crafters, you can create a TV. At the bottom, you'll find the buttons, and at the top are the antenna levers. Although not a flat screen TV, it's a nice addition to your living rooms. Fireplaces are normally pretty small, but not this one. It's a huge Victorian-themed fireplace that utilizes every tough brick type. As you go up, you'll even find some added decoration that perfectly complements the build. It looks absolutely stunning, and is big enough to warm up an entire mansion. Village houses look way too basic, but turns out by just exchanging a few of the blocks, you can completely upgrade it. The new house uses the same outline, but just looks a million times better. We've all built a dirt hut before when we were noobs, but now we can take it to the next level. Dirt huts can look surprisingly stylish if you decorate the outside with azalea bushes, moss, and leaves. This hut looks better than most players' builds. A tree you can easily turn into a house is a mushroom. Just plop a few ladders down, create the flooring, add a window, and you'll have a super cozy room. The fisherman would love this house. It's a pretty cozy-looking dock with campfires on the sides for added texture. And for his house, the fisherman can live in a beach house overlooking the sunset. In Minecraft, there are many lakes and rivers. In one of them, we can build a house connected to the riverbank. The house will look very stylish and fit in with the environment. But what's even better than a house above land is one underwater. By placing a conduit next to some prismarine blocks, you'll be able to breathe nearby and build a completely underwater house. It feels kind of illegal sleeping here though. This is a walking house. It even has controls that you can use to move the house around, jump in the air, and shoot TNT at your enemies. When you're done, you can make the house sit down and then enter it like nothing ever happened. It works using a data pack by McMackenstein. But if you want to live on the ocean, a great option is building a realistic sailboat. Although it won't sail, it'll be a cool base where most mobs can't swim to you. This is a disappearing island. For some reason, shulker boxes don't render unless you get close to them. Knowing this, you can build entire sky islands out of shulker boxes that only appear as you get close to it. The island will be invisible to everyone except those who know where it is. The autocrafter can also be placed on a desk along with a painting to make a laptop. It looks much better than just a gold pressure plate, which so many people do. Most people use blocks like oak wood or cobblestone to build their homes, but I wanted to see what it looked like with crafting tables. Surprisingly, it doesn't look too bad and looks unique. The blocks can also be swapped with chests, and it looks pretty awesome as well. Be careful of your friends trying to take your items though. Copper grates work very well as industrial platforms, and you can add copper trapdoors as the railing. You won't be falling off here anytime soon. This is an automatic lamp. When you walk nearby, the light will magically turn on. To build it, just use some stone brick walls, copper bulbs, and a skulk sensor in the middle. The sensor will detect whenever you walk nearby and activate the bulbs. Spaceships need powerful thrusters to fly through space, but on a smaller scale, they can be harder to build. We can try dispensers, but they don't fit too well. A better solution is using autocrafters. Their sideways texture looks like mini rocket boosters. When a zombie tries to enter this house, it instantly starts to take damage. This is because beneath the trapdoors are magma blocks that burn the zombies alive. You can place other blocks on top of the magma block, like carpets and moss blocks to camouflage it. Inside of the anvil, you'll find a hammer in the GUI, but that item doesn't exist. However, the mace kind of looks similar to it. So by placing one inside an invisible item frame, the mace will look like a hammer for the anvil. If you're playing on a server, a mailbox is essential. It'll let you deliver presents to your friends while they're offline. You can build an amazing one with a tough wall, autocrafter, lever, and pressure plate. Honestly, with how easy this is to build, you need one in front of your house. Using all the different variants of tough bricks, fancy floor patterns can be made. This is a ghast house, and it actually works. To build it, just get a ghast in a minecart and push it to the center of your flooring. Then you'll actually be able to enter and access your items. The downside is that you'll have to be in peaceful or creative mode if you don't want the gas blowing up everything. While the cake can be placed, the pumpkin pie can't. So to make your own pie, place a carpet and dispense an armor stand into a stair block. Next, dye a leather cap and apply a silencer armor trim on it. Equip the armor stand and put a wind charge inside an item frame. You'll have a tasty blueberry pie with whipped cream on top. An amazing way to hide your base is under snow. If you hide scaffolding under snow layers, you'll be able to crouch right through. Just make sure you remember the correct spot so it doesn't look like you're dancing on the snow. Or for a more classic phone booth, we can create ones with crimson trapdoors for the outside. And on the inside, an autocrafter is placed for the keypad and another one as the telephone. Tents are a great portable shelter in real life, but in Minecraft, not so much. However, if you still want one, you can easily make one with some wool for the outside and a little campfire with chairs on the side. The good thing about the campfire is that you can see the smoke from far away to find your base. The sides of chiseled tough bricks are often admired, but I prefer the top. See, by placing your boring cobblestone floor with chiseled tough bricks, your house will have tiled floors and look a lot more fancy. By just placing copper grate blocks, you'll get yourself some storage crates. Trapdoors can even be placed around to fortify your crates. Although you can't store items inside of these, they're a great decoration for storage units. The desert temple is one of the nicest looking structures, so it's not a bad idea to make it our initial base. Simply place wooden stairs around the top to make a roof for our pyramid, and you'll be able to identify it a lot easier from the other desert pyramids in the world. You can create some unique lampposts using tough bricks, warped wood, and copper bulbs. There are all kinds of variations that you can get creative with. One of my favorite designs involves a lamppost with hanging signs around the sides. This particular style adds a charming and functional touch. By mixing a frog light, copper trapdoors, and levers, you can create a floating light source. Parrots are extremely weak and can die from even a single harming potion, so so let's protect it. You can build a fancy cage for it using lightning rods, copper trapdoors, and pushing a copper grate into the parrot. Finish it off with a chain and you'll have the perfect bird cage. Unfortunately for your parrot, there isn't any door on the cage, so he'll be spending the rest of his life there. But if you're looking for a house that's hidden but not too small, try a one-block tall house. To enter, use a trapdoor, and obviously you can't open a chest in here, so you have to use barrels. Although it's a little cramped, it's a pretty nice starter base. Check out this crazy trampoline! It sends you flying through the air, and building it is actually quite simple. Just place a layer of observers like so, and then place a second layer of observers on top. Next, set down dispensers filled with wind charges, and to turn it on, just activate one of the observers. You'll get this wonderful trampoline, and the wind charges will create a satisfying pattern. You can use different shades of pink to create a flower, and for the center, use copper grates to create this unique texture. It's a neat way to add a decorative touch. Rails are pretty small. If you want bigger train tracks inside of a station, use autocrafters. If you want an extremely different house, try making it out of all plants. It won't be the safest, but it's perfect if you love nature. Something is wrong with you if you build this. But a much sneakier way to defend your base is by using sand. Normally, sand will fall down, but you can place a bunch on top of connected signs above a large hole. So when a player tries entering your base, just break a single sign, and the entire sand floor will come crashing down. Ravines are mostly used for mining, but turns out we can actually turn it into a base. We just need to create a slab floor, and that's it. The one downside is mobs can enter from the top, but still, it's an awesome looking base. Using normal fences is a good way to keep mobs from entering, but it's so overdone. Instead, let's set up a security fence using copper trapdoors and gates like so. Place prismarine walls along the top of spikes. This fence is a lot more unique. Tough bricks are perfect for castle builds. They look a lot richer than normal stone bricks and make your palace seem like royalty. The floor of this build is also using polished and chiseled tough bricks. The dark gray colors also contrast beautifully with the purple banners and rugs. I feel like royalty here. Beds can hide a secret entrance? Well, if you place blocks all around a bed except one spot, you'll spawn there when exiting the bed. Knowing this, you can place a bed in a secret corner, and by exiting it, you'll be in your secret stash. This is a combination lock. The top of the crafter block looks like a keypad, so by placing it against the wall, you can create a security keypad. The lights are constantly flickering because there's an observer clock beneath it. But it's not just for decoration, it's functional too. The door will open only if you craft the right item using it, and there are over 160,000 combinations. This door will open if you craft this specific decorated part. It's so cool! By placing a bunch of doors and pressure plates, you can create a labyrinth that is super annoying to get through. When players see this, they'll probably just turn back around. But that's not as overpowered as this because you can create a bazooka. You see, gas can actually be trapped in minecarts, and you can bring them to the overworld. The gas can be put in a cage and will act as a bazooka, shooting any players that try to invade your base. It can be activated and deactivated with a piston. If you're trying to build a house as fast as possible, you obviously have to get blocks very fast. The quickest blocks to get are probably leaves, since all you need is a pair of shears and you're ready to instantly shred through them. You can then build up the final house like so. Just be careful of lightning strikes, since they'll incinerate your entire house as quickly as you built it. Oxidized trapdoors are perfect for creating pipes and vent systems. An easy way to build these is using full blocks as the structure and then placing the trapdoors around it. Once the trapdoors are all placed, just break the blocks in the middle to get your seamless pipe system. I love crawling through these. Don't use torches in your bedroom. Instead, you can make a realistic lamp. Start with a copper bulb and lightning rod. Next, dispense an armor stand on top of a daylight sensor and give it a dyed leather hat. It'll be the base of the lamp. Now just place a pressure plate on top and power it on. This looks way better than torches. Breeze rods look very similar to blaze rods. We can put them in item frames on top of cauldrons to show hot versus cold water. Autocrafters light up when you activate them, so by placing a lot of them, you can create a chasing light pattern. Caves sticking out of mountains can be the perfect base. Make sure there's enough space inside and just place glass blocks on the outside and 2 doors. Do you see the base? Well, it's actually in this water barrel. If you surround it with other decorations, it'll blend right into the background. To enter, just right-click the trapdoor under the barrel and close it on your way down. No one is finding your base here. This is the greatest house I've ever seen! It may look normal at first, but once you take a closer look, you'll see it's made of tiny blocks. The illusion works by using a resource pack that turns all textures to be made out of blocks, even catching on fire. And mobs like the axolotl are made out of tiny blocks. The side handle of the autocrafter also looks like a telephone. We can build some structure around it and add a redstone torch as an antenna to create a phone calling machine. Well, those are some of the greatest build hacks. Subscribe for a cookie!